Now, there are a couple of mysteries about this palm. Look at the headline and the way it decides to change direction drastically at around the age of about 36, where the fate line meets it. Things start to change here. We've got this person thinking about money at this time, and then their mental framework completely changes. They're looking more towards a place of fantasy and imagination and the unconsciousness. There are other signs here with, this. I mean, a lot of people will say this is a mystic cross. It's not quite a mystic cross, because if it were completely isolated and on its own and separate, not touching any other lines, then we would call it, highly significant. And yes, it might well be a mystic cross, but it's caused by the convergence of other lines. It's caused by the heart line reaching down towards the headline. This is disappointment and loss, emotional hurt and damage. And it's also caused by this person's drive and purpose and feeling of what they should be doing in their life. This convergence of lines creates this cross. It's still significant to some degree, but it's not quite as powerful as the mystic cross in itself. And this disappointment that this person experiences relates to, because it's connected to, something that occurs in their late, I'm going to say early 30s, because it's connected to this here. And it's early 30s that it crosses the fate line. So that's how we can sort of tell when this disappointment, this emotional damage, this emotional hurt takes place. There's also a square here on the inside of the lifeline. Now, squares on the inside of the lifeline often mean imprisonment or hospitalization. The person's environment is protected, boxed off. There's a lack of freedom and isolation at this time, but they are protected at the same time. Their life is literally sort of closed off during this period, this sort of 7-year period, it looks like, something like that, maybe 5 years. So that's interesting. Also, we've got some very interesting markings occurring up on the Mount of Jupiter itself. There are lots of squares going on all around here, all over this palm. So I'm getting the impression that this person is quite a warrior, as in they worry a lot. There's lots of anxiety, there's lots of obstacles and stress. There's lots of problems and challenges, anxiety, stress, and worry. That's what a many-lined hand shows us, and it's often a cause for concern with cardiac issues, because there's no greater pressure on the heart than worry, stress, and anxiety. The number one cause for cardiac issues is anxiety. So a low stress environment certainly helps, and regular low impact exercises improves cardiovascular or prevents cardiovascular issues. So this square up here, which is again a convergence of lots of different occurrences in this person's life. It's the way they feel. It's also their intuition, a strong intuition. Borderline, I would say, this is Solomon's ring, in fact. This is more than just intuition, this is wisdom. This is wisdom that is... it's tied in with the way in which they now think. They are looking more towards the supernatural, the occult, and their intuition is tied in with this as well, and their ability to sympathize and understand their own emotions as well as other people's emotions as well. And altogether, we've got a bit of a cross here as well on Jupiter, and this provides some sort of clairvoyant ability. I think this person already knows this. They've discovered this about themselves, and so they've turned a direction here in terms of what their thought processes and where they get their inspiration from, their imagination. They've decided that enhancing this area of themselves is hugely important. They're good at getting this message across as well as to who they are. We've got a very strong amount of Neptune as well. What they know they can do, they're getting across well to the outside world. The overall shape of the hand shows someone who's highly intuitive, instinctive. That's what the fire hand shows us, but also the rounded nature of the fingers, the base of the palm. The the shape of the palm is quite dynamic. We've certainly got someone who is. It's interesting because they think a lot. They're in their minds quite a lot. However, the thumb itself is not actually all that long. It's quite a short thumb. So again, this provides a quick, instinctive thinker. This is someone who just knows what to do. Now, the Saturn finger is turned quite fairly drastically inwards towards Apollo, and this shows someone who was provided sort of mixed messages when they were younger. Um, However, I wonder if this Saturn finger bends actually backwards, upwards, away from the palm towards them. I mean, it's impossible really to see in this image, but if it does, again, this shows a keen interest and an ability in the supernatural, in the occults. Yes, I can see here this person went through an operation. That's what this is. It's not imprisonment. It's an operation, and I'm going to say that it was, the 7 year period from their early 20s right up to their late 20s, and that's what these obstacles are here in their career. Now, this marking, they sent it to me. I can see it in this image here, and you can see it's nicely framed by this Solomon's ring, this powerful sign of wisdom and ability in the supernatural. It also makes them a little bit of a show off, but all through their life, they are endowed with this sense of instinct, keen ability to foresee. But this eye here at the base of Jupiter, it's for me, it's a bit of a challenge, a bit of a mystery. I'm not entirely certain what this means. I think it means some sort of obstruction, some sort of obstacle in the path of their abilities to indulge. And that might sound a bit odd, but it's quite a rare marking. What is interesting to me is the way that the Solomon's ring, it's sort of being blessed almost. It's sort of almost like these ambition lines here are praising what looks like this uh, phoenix eye, if you like. I mean, I wouldn't call it that because that's a sign for the eye of Ganesha on the thumb. This is an island. Islands are generally bad. There's some sort of obstacle in the flow of energy. And so these ambitions are being prevented by whatever this obstacle is. It could be physical, it could be an organ of some sort, and maybe it's related to their operation that they've had, potentially sort of life-saving operation that they've already had. Or, and I'm saying or because this is a mystery to me, it could be that their ambitions are all linked and related towards this extremely rare and potentially unique marking that I don't know what it does. And it's to me, it's interesting that this Solomon's ring here, this is where all the ambitions come from. So it's telling me that this person has desires to be a master in the occult in some area. And I think that there's something preventing them from doing this, and it's potentially physical. Sometimes in palmistry, when we come up against a mystery like this, the only way to get to the bottom of it is to ask the client a few questions and to start whittling down the possibilities. It's trial and error, and that's by the very nature of how palmistry, the art and science of palmistry, the knowledge has been passed down. Because at some point, someone, somewhere, looked at 100 or so people in their village or whatever, and drew similarities from all of the people that had the same or similar profession or trade, and decided and realized what the corroboration was in their palms, and recorded this information in a way, and just kept doing this until eventually we had what we have today. And these things change all the time because we change all the time, because our society changes all the time. The way we perceive the world and the world around us is constantly changing because we're constantly changing it as well. So it makes sense that palmistry is constantly changing as well. Although there are parallels with, what's recorded in ancient texts with today. Some of it, all of it is still relevant. Now, something here, it strikes me as, again, a bit of a mystery. We've got this, it looks like a sun line that is stemming from a relationship line. This person's relationship, which may well have ended. It looks as though it's sort of bringing them down. It crosses their emotions, their heart line. Perhaps they outlived them. I don't know exactly. However, whatever happened, the relationship has started them on a course of success, happiness, potentially kickstarted their financial stability in life. Their overall path in life has not been an easy one. It's neither here nor there. Although it begins down on Neptune, I think they feel they know what their purpose is. I think they've always kind of felt that. They have a feeling that destiny is sort of predetermined for them. It's not earned them a great deal of money up until around by the age of 36. As I say, look at the fate line from this point onwards. After it crosses the headline, it becomes deeper, it becomes more indented, stronger, and I think they earn more money at this time, from this time onwards. And you can see that by the way the headline reaches upwards towards outer Mars, towards Mercury, and it shows that there's more sort of planning around their future and stability and finances. And that's what, whenever the headline does that, reaches upwards in towards more this sort of area here in the palm, or more specifically here, it shows this need, this drive and want for finances. And I think this person is still probably thinking about that at this point in their life. This is certainly a highly sensitive person, and as I've already said, anxious. Anxiety is living in the future, and essentially when our thoughts are in the future, when we're placing, when we're not present, when we're living in the future, yes, we are prone to anxiety, but we're also prone to, when we're living in the future, we're able to, in some way, see the future. We're constantly risk assessing, we're constantly thinking and feeling in that area. Then we're sort of more tapped into, what's the unforeseeable, the unforeseen. It's hard to explain this, but I suppose what I'm trying to say is, when the more anxious of us are more likely to be able to foresee. And I think this person is highly intuitive to the point where they are able to foresee. And I'm wondering if this eye up here on Jupiter is allowing, or either it's one or the other, there's no middle ground. It's either something unique to this person that's enabling them or disabling them. And I know that's not really an answer, but this is a first for me. So let me know your thoughts about this one. I'm a bit confused here. This is an intriguing hand, an intriguing read for me. So let me know your thoughts, and I hope that there's actually people out there with their own suggestions as to what this curious marking up here means. But I do believe we've got here some sort of mystic healer and a psychic. So a very interesting person, very interesting read, and I hope they've gathered some value from this vague and frankly sloppy reading. But I don't know everything. But I will come back to this one because it's a fascinating read for me. It's very interesting, and there's a lot more here to unpack. So thanks for watching, and as I say, if you've got any thoughts, please comment, and I'll see you on the next one.